Are you performing same kind of activities again and again? Do you have compulsive thoughts? Is it irritating you? Or are you having bad emotions like anger, frustration, jealousy, hatred, envy, sadness, depression? Is it overwhelming you or persisting you for a longer time? Or are you addicted to substance, social media, games, more screen time? Are you sedentary, being in one place, inactive, or obese? If yes, for all these questions, obviously it is a matter of concern, leading us to certain point in our life. It can be detrimental for us, making bad habits. Now, how do these habits form? Whenever we are exposed to some strange situations or new situations, our sense organs get stimulated by external world, sends the signals to the brain. That is where this information is assessed. Prefrontal cortex, that is responsible for thinking, strategic planning, and execution. It can come up with different strategies. It can take the best strategy out of them and it can act upon them. If the problem is solved, dopamine is released, and saying that the problem is solved. Whenever we are exposed to same situations or same problem, it can come up with the same set of solutions. If this repeats itself, is it accomplishes the act without involvement of the prefrontal cortex, as this has become habitual. This is when habits are formed. Indirectly, it has become reflex action from deliberate action, where focus is required, towards the reflex action, where no attention, no focus, or unconsciously it is done. Is there any neural pathways for habit formation? Yes, there are. There is a neural pathway called basal ganglia that involves different components of a deep brain, that is cardiac nucleus, putamen combinedly called striatum, then globus pallidus, um, subthalamus, substantia nigra, then thalamus, then the prefrontal cortex. These are the main components that are involved in the execution of the motor activity. And we have substantia nigra that is responsible for release of the dopamine. It axons are joining the striatum, that is where the dopamine is released. That is when the modification of the motor activity will occur. Even if you say no for that, dopamine will make you to do that activity as a cravings. This is when habit is formed. And do you think all the habits are bad? No, some habits can be good. If you are addicted to exercise, or if you are addicted to good food, if you are even addicted to having good sleep of 6 to 8 hours, and if you are addicted to meditation, pranayama, yoga, that can be good. And some other bad habits, like if you are addicted to social media, more screen time, games, and substance abuse, it can be bad. What are the factors we have to consider in deciding whether that is beneficial for us or non beneficial for us? I'll consider mainly three factors. First factor is how much effort you put to accomplish that activity, and second factor is what is the amount of instant gratification after completion of that activity. Third is, are you is it contributing to your long term goals? These are the three things I'll consider to decide whether that activity is beneficial for us, non beneficial for us. For instance, if we take all the bad habits, like if you are addicted to junk food, or sugary food, or substance abuse, or games, or more social media, all these follow same patterns. Like the amount of energy or work required to accomplish that these activities would be very less. Whereas instant gratification, amount of instant gratification would be very high. You may get, once you accomplish this activity, you may get so much dopamine spikes, or so much pleasure, so much reward. And last point is, it may not contribute to your long term goals or achieving your goals. So this can be said as non-beneficial. Which are beneficial then? Take other opposite of these things. If you are ready to exercise, learning some new skills, improvising your communication skills, and yoga, pranayama, meditation, and even having good sleep routines, all these things require some effort, more effort to accomplish that activity, whereas instant gratification or satisfaction would be very less after accomplishment of these activities. And in a long term, when you look at these things in the long term, it may benefit us in achieving our goals, like maintaining the good shape and improvising our communication skills and having good health, maintaining our health. Now you can categorize this into beneficial. We have understood what are the criteria we have to take, consider to deciding whether it can be beneficial or non-beneficial. Now we can have two columns. We can write down which are beneficial and which are non-beneficial activities or habits. Now the next question is, can't we change the habits? Can't we control the habits? Obviously we can control, as habit itself says that this is a behavior that is accomplished or performed without involvement of prefrontal cortex or having thought or done unconsciously. So it is happening by itself. Now how can we control this? We can only control this by paying attention to that, by questioning what am I doing right now, how can we change these things. Every time when you are addicted to some substance abuse, every time when you are acting upon them, so you just have to question these things. What am I doing? How can I change these things? Only then you have a option to change yourself. So I can change these things by considering the three layers of the habits that can be represented using the three concentric circles. Innermost circle represents the identity. Outer that we have another circle that represents the processes. Outer that outermost circle represents the outcomes. So we took all the bad non-beneficial habits which are always concentrated on the identity. Once one who is identified himself as a smoker, always whenever he cross across the cues, he get stimulated, he get the cravings, he start satisfying that cravings and he does that activity, and this cycle repeats itself, forming a more compulsive thing. Now what we can change? We have three layers: identity, process, results. In these three layers, if you change any one layer, accordingly the habit itself would change. Now we have the last layer. Let's take the last layer, that is outcome or results. If you want, if you have to set the goals for yourself. Suppose if you want to be fit, that is your goal. What are the activities you have to accomplish in a daily basis to become that? You have to wake up early, you have to exercise for at least 40 to 50 minutes every day. It can be cardio, it can be weight training, or you have to have good diet, good sleep. These are the preliminary things needed to accomplish that goal. If you accomplish this goal, set goal, and you perform these activities for at least 30 to 60 days, obviously without your consciousness, identity itself would be changed. So this is how you can change your habit. Now let's take for myself, if I want to change or improvise my communication skills, what can I do? I have some protocols for you, or like in activities, what are the activities I have to do in a daily basis to accomplish this. I consider few protocols that are done in a daily basis. First protocol is, you should be reading a news for at least 8 to 10 pages. It may take about 2 to 3 hours. If you find any new words, collect them separately, and once you wake up early in the morning, you have to recite those words and try to make at least 2 to 3 sentences out of them. Try to use them in the daily conversations. Next is read a book at least 20 to 30 pages. That can be self-helping books, or it can be fiction books. In any way, can be good. And if you find any worthy friend, try to speak them in that language. And watch the vernacular movies, like it can be in it can be Kannada, Hindi, or Telugu. Instantaneously we have to translate them into this language, not word by word but sentence by sentence. And learn a concept, try to represent it to somebody on a daily basis. You have to accomplish this every day for 30 days. Look at this, what are the improvisations you can make. So I have taken these things into consideration. This is my about 60 days or 70 days. I have completed this strictly. You can check out my last video, look at the fluency in that and look at the fluency in this one. I have improved a lot in terms of communication skills, as this has become a reflex action from deliberate action. I don't have to think to make a sentence, it can happen by itself. So it can happen only by making this process a habit. And hope you have all understood how to handle your habits, how to take up new challenge in your life, and you have understood the brain circuits that are responsible for habit formation. Hope you are all doing well. Thank you.